Today, we are mapping what feels like the ultimate frontier. We're talking about the direct physical link between your mind, your nervous system, and your immune defenses.
It's a field called Psychoneuroimmunology, PNI for short. And for decades, let's be honest, it was kind of treated like fringe science.
Oh, absolutely. But the data now it's just undeniable.
So to set the stage for you, our listener, the learner, let me just hit you with a statistic from the material you shared that, honestly, it floored me.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
Loneliness, chronic social isolation. It's not just a sad emotional state.
Not at all.
It is considered an independent risk factor for mortality comparable to severe obesity or, and this is the kicker, smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
15
Yeah.
every day. It's a staggering number.
That one fact just completely changes the conversation around what health even means.
It proves that this ancient idea of a separate mind and body is, well, it's completely false. Your psychological state is a measurable biological force.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to unpack the actual biological mechanics of that.
Yeah, how does a thought and emotion translate into molecules that can either build you up or break you down?
We're moving P&I from this fringe idea to what it is,
Yeah.
a robust, essential field.
A core part of medicine.
Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating to me is how resistant the scientific community was to this for so long. I mean, for centuries, the dogma was that the immune system was this fortress. It operated completely on its own.
A local defense force, no
Yeah.
central command from the brain.
Exactly. The ultimate biological split. Mind over here, white blood cells way over there.
But that all changed with a very famous experiment with rats, right?
Yes, the whole modern story really begins in the 1970s with Robert Ader and Nicholas Cohen. And the funny thing is, they weren't even looking for this. They were studying taste aversion. Just classic Pavlovian conditioning.
Okay, so they were pairing a specific taste.
A sweet saccharin solution with a drug called cyclophosphamide.
Which is a potent immunosuppressant.
Right. The goal was simple. See if the rats would learn to avoid the sweet taste because it made them feel nauseous from the drug.
But they stumbled onto something much, much bigger.
Monumental, really. After they established the conditioning, they started giving the rats just the saccharin all by itself.
Yeah.
And they found the sweet taste alone was enough to cause significant immune suppression. Some of the rats even died.
Wow, just from the taste.
Their brains had learned that sweet taste meant shut down the immune system. It was a conditioned response, but a physiological one.
So that one 1974 paper basically demolished the old dogma.
It was the absolute founding moment for PNI. It proved without a doubt the brain could directly talk to immune cells.
Which brings us to the anatomical question. How? How do they talk? If this was always there, how did we miss it for so long?
Well, the connection isn't metaphorical at all. It's hardwired.
A physical communication network.
A complete, integrated, and this is key, bi-directional network.
So if you look at the sources, the fight or flight system,
Yeah.
the sympathetic nervous system, it has fibers that run directly into the spleen, the lymph node.
Of all the lymphoid organs, yeah. The headquarters where immune cells are stored and mature.
We're talking about physical nerve endings, releasing things like norepinephrine right next to the soldiers, the T cells, B cells, macrophages.
It's like having a dedicated telephone line straight into the war room. It's that direct.
And those immune cells are incredibly sophisticated listeners. They have receptors for pretty much every major signal we associate with psychological states.
Dopamine, serotonin, opioids, stress hormones like glucocorticoids.
So when you have a thought, an emotion that triggers a chemical cascade in your brain,
Your immune cells feel it instantly.
but it's not a one-way street. You said it's bidirectional.
Right. The immune cells talk back. They produce their own neuropeptides, things we once thought were exclusive to the brain,
Like what?
like substance P, which transmits pain signals, or even ACTH. So inflammation in your body directly influences your brain. It's one unified feedback loop.
And if we had to pick a star player in this whole network, it would have to be the vagus nerve.
Oh, absolutely. The vagus nerve is the superhighway connecting the gut and organs back to the brain. And its role in PNI is massive because of what's called the anti-inflammatory cholinergic pathway.
Cholinergic, so it uses acetylcholine.
Exactly. And acetylcholine acts as a chemical chill-out signal for the immune system. So when you stimulate the vagus nerve,
Through things like meditation, slow breathing, even cold exposure.
You activate this pathway, and it rapidly lowers circulating inflammatory cytokines.
Which explains why these non-physical things have such profound physical effects.
But that connection also means we have to look at the negative side of the axis.
We have to talk about stress.
Stress, the ultimate PNI trigger. But we need to make a really crucial distinction here.
Not all stress is bad for you.
That's right. You have to go back to Hans Selye's work. Acute stress, that sudden surge of adrenaline and cortisol, is often immunoenhancing.
It's literally getting the troops ready for battle, isn't it?
Precisely. It mobilizes immune cells out of storage and into the bloodstream. It's adaptive. It prepares you for injury or infection.
So where does it all go wrong? Why is chronic, sustained stress so destructive? Especially if cortisol is supposed to be an anti-inflammatory.
And that is the paradox. This is where the real damage happens. The mechanism is called glucocorticoid resistance.
Meaning?
If you are constantly bathing your system in cortisol because of a bad job, financial worries, whatever, your immune cells eventually just stop listening to the signal.
The receptors get burned out.
They get desensitized. So cortisol is supposed to be the brake on the immune system, right? To stop it from going out of control.
But if the cells are ignoring the brake,
you get runaway inflammation. The body has lost its ability to regulate itself.
and that has measurable consequences.
Huge ones. The sources show chronic stress can literally shrink the thymus, which is a key immune organ. It tanks your natural killer cell activity and can even reactivate latent viruses.
Like herpes viruses.
Exactly. The things that were dormant in your system can suddenly flare up.
And there's that classic case study of medical students during exams. A perfect storm of predictable chronic stress.
It's a perfect model. And during those exam periods, you see a measurable drop in their natural killer cell activity. Their response to vaccines for things like hepatitis B is way lower.
And the craziest one for me is that simple wounds in their mouths can take up to 40% longer to heal.
40%. Their mental state is physically slowing down cellular repair. It's incredible.
Which brings us back full circle to that opening hook, the lethality of loneliness.
It's maybe the most profound PNI finding of the last decade. It's not just subjective sadness.
No, it's a quantifiable risk factor. And the work by Steve Cole at UCLA, it just maps the mechanism so terrifyingly well.
It's all in the genes, right? Lonely people's DNA is literally running a different program.
Exactly. He found that chronically lonely individuals have a distinct lonely gene expression profile. Yeah. Two things happening at once.
Okay.
First, their pro-inflammatory genes are cranked way up. This makes them prone to all the diseases of inflammation, cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease.
So they're primed for internal attack. And the second part, at the exact same time, their antiviral and antibody-producing genes are downregulated.
So high inflammation, but weak defenses against actual threats.
Yes. The feeling of being socially threatened is literally rewriting their genetic defense strategy from protection against viruses to constant internal warfare.
That sounds almost too deterministic. So are we just stuck with that, or can a positive outlook actually fight back against these powerful chemical signals?
It can. This is the positive flip side, and the data is just as robust. PNI doesn't just study damage, it studies resilience.
So things like optimism, positive effect, having a sense of meaning.
They correlate directly with better immune outcomes, lower levels of inflammatory markers like IL-6 and CRP.
Which are the standard measures for system-wide inflammation.
Exactly. Optimistic people literally run cooler, immunologically speaking. They also have higher antibody responses to vaccines and even longer telomeres in their immune cells.
A direct measure of cellular aging.
A direct measure of aging. And the most famous example of this has to be the nun study.
Ah, the David Snowden study. It's such a powerful piece of evidence.
It really is. They studied this large group of Catholic nuns, and they got a hold of these autobiographies the nuns wrote in their 20s.
Before they took their vows.
Decades later, researchers scored these essays based purely on their positive emotional content. How much joy, hope, love was expressed.
And the findings were just staggering.
The nuns who ranked in the top quarter for positive emotion lived, on average, 10 years longer than those in the bottom.
10 years, and they all lived identical, sheltered, low-stress lives. The only big variable was their psychological outlook.
And at autopsy, they had dramatically lower rates of Alzheimer's pathology. Their positive mindset seemed to offer some kind of neuroimmune protection.
So the big question for you, the learner, is what can we actually do with this? And PNI is now at a point where it offers concrete, evidence-backed interventions.
Not just vague advice, these are methods with hard, quantifiable immune outcomes.
Like Tai Chi and Qigong.
Right. Studies on older adults practicing for 6 months showed they boosted their antibody response to the shingles vaccine by 2 to 3-fold.
2 to 3-fold. That's
It brought their response up to levels you'd normally only see in much younger adults. That's measurable immune remodeling.
And then there's mindfulness-based stress reduction, or MBSR.
Yeah, in breast cancer patients, MBSR increased natural killer cell activity. In HIV patients, it slowed the decline of their CD4 T cells.
Even something as simple as writing. The disclosure writing work by James Pennebaker
That's a fascinating one. Just writing about traumatic experiences for 20 minutes a day.
led to a higher antibody response to a hepatitis B vaccine months later.
And the theory is that by taking this chaotic emotional experience and translating it into linguistic order, into a narrative, you're easing the strain on the whole stress axis.
The act of coherent storytelling is literally anti-inflammatory.
Which leads us perfectly to the most dramatic demonstration of all of this.
The placebo effect.
It's pure, unadulterated PNI in action, creating a real, measurable physical response with no active drug.
And Fabrizio Benedetti's work showed the mechanism, right? It's not just in your head.
Not at all. Placebo pain relief releases measurable endogenous opioids and cannabinoids in the brain, the body's own painkillers.
Yeah.
In Parkinson's patients, a placebo triggers a measurable release of dopamine.
The brain is literally manufacturing the medicine it expects to receive.
And the horrifying inverse of that is the nocebo effect.
The expectation of harm causing actual physical symptoms.
It is terrifyingly real. Sources show that when people were told a nearby wind turbine might cause symptoms, they had measurable increases in inflammatory markers like IL-6 and histamine.
Even when the turbine wasn't even on.
Even when it wasn't present or operational, the simple expectation of harm kicked off a real immune response.
And speaking of large-scale stress, the COVID-19 pandemic really became a massive natural PNI experiment, didn't it?
It absolutely did. It confirmed all these links under intense global pressure. We saw that loneliness, high anxiety, and fear predicted higher symptom severity and longer illness.
And on the flip side, chronic stress compromised defenses.
Hugely. Healthcare workers suffering from severe burnout had lower antibody titers after vaccination compared to their less stressed colleagues. Their chronic stress literally weakened their vaccine response.
But the interventions still worked.
Even under those conditions, studies showed that things like mindfulness and physical exercise improve vaccine response in anxious people. We can mitigate the negative effects with conscious action.
So where does this all go next? What are the future frontiers?
It's moving so fast, we're heading toward personalized PNI.
Using things like wearables to track heart rate variability.
Exactly. Using that data as a proxy for your stress axis regulation, maybe even predicting inflammation flares based on your psychological data.
And we have to mention the pharmacology. Psychedelics.
Emerging research on psilocybin is showing these profound anti-inflammatory effects, dramatic reductions in CRP and IL-6 that can last for weeks or months after just one dose.
And even physical interventions like vagus nerve stimulation.
Right. These implants, already used for depression, are now showing targeted anti-inflammatory effects in pilot studies for things like rheumatoid arthritis. We are learning how to physically dial up that chill-out signal.
So PNI has really gone from fringe heresy to textbook truth in, less than 50 years?
It has, and it really forces you to ask this question. The old Cartesian split between mind and body that dominated Western thought, it was never real.
We are one single unified system.
Every thought, every emotion, every relationship gets translated almost instantly into molecules that either defend us or slowly erode us.
It makes sense of everything. The body is always listening to the story the mind is telling.
The immune system, it turns out, is the most eloquent storyteller of our mental and emotional state.
So the final thought we want to leave you with comes from Candace Pert, the neuroscientist who discovered the opiate receptor. She said, "The body is the outward manifestation of the mind."
Hopefully this knowledge gives you a clearer map of your own internal ecosystem.
Yeah, and empowers you to manage that conversation between your brain and your immune system.
Remember to take care of the narrator inside your head. Your body is definitely taking notes.
For more deep dives just like this one, be sure to like and subscribe and visit www.dansplain.xyz for all the latest articles, episodes, and products.
And we'll see you on the next
Dansplain.